You know that feeling, right? You want to get involved in your community, but it's just fragmented. There's a petition over here, a town hall meeting there, some new app that just launched, and none of it talks to each other. It all feels disconnected. Well, we're here to explore a really powerful idea for a solution. What if we built shared digital infrastructure for our democracy? Let's talk about a project called Civic.social. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll dig into that problem, our fragmented civic life. Then we'll introduce this idea of a civic operating system. After that, we'll look at the three main parts that make it work, and we'll talk about how it all connects without being centralized. And finally, we'll look at the plan for how we can build this future together. All right, let's start right there with that feeling of fragmentation. Why is it that even with the best intentions, our efforts to participate just feel so scattered and honestly kind of ineffective? I mean, the irony is just incredible. Our democracy is absolutely overflowing with passion, with innovation. You've got hundreds of organizations building amazing tools, organizing communities. The problem isn't a lack of effort, not at all. It's that all these efforts are basically operating in their own little bubbles. Without some kind of shared plumbing to connect them, they stay siloed, and they can't build on each other's momentum. And this isn't just inefficient, it's actually damaging. When our hard work feels so disconnected, it just breeds cynicism, right? You start to think, what's the point? And when every single group has to reinvent the wheel over and over, we're just wasting precious resources. But maybe the biggest loss is that we miss out on the most powerful force in the digital world, network effects. Every new person who joins, every new tool that gets built, it should make the whole system better for everyone. But right now, it doesn't. So that brings us to a really powerful question. What if it could be different? What if every single act of participation, every new tool, every community effort, what if it actually reinforced everything else? What if our civic impact could compound instead of just scattering into the wind? To answer that question, we have to start thinking differently. We need to stop focusing on just the next app and instead think about the very foundation our civic life is built on. And here's the core idea. It's not that we need more tools. In addition to more tools, we need a civic operating system. You know, think about your phone. All those different apps can talk to each other, right? That's because they're all built on a shared operating system, like iOS or Android. We need that same kind of foundational layer for our democracy so that all these great tools can finally connect. So what is a civic operating system? Well, it's shared digital public infrastructure. Let's be clear. This isn't some giant single website that everyone has to use. No way. It's more like the invisible rules, the protocols, that make the internet itself work. It's a common language that lets all these different tools and communities connect and collaborate, all while staying completely independent. Okay, so that sounds good in theory, but how does it actually work? Well, this shared infrastructure is really built on three core interconnected pieces. First up, a shared civic identity. Think of this as your single portable key for democracy. Just imagine having one secure, private ID that you and only you control. You could use it to engage with your local school board, sign a petition for a policy group, or get involved in a budgeting process, all without having to sign up and re-verify who you are every single time. The idea is simple. Onboard once, participate everywhere. Second, we have civic hubs. You can think of these as digital town squares. There'd be one for every jurisdiction, your city, your county, your state. And here's the crucial part. They are locally controlled. Each community gets to decide which tools and processes work for them. Maybe it's a digital town hall. Maybe it's a citizen assembly. They're totally independent, but they can plug into that bigger network. And third, there's the citizen newsfeed. This is where it all comes together for you, the citizen. Imagine a single, trustworthy stream of updates from every single civic hub and community you care about. All of a sudden, participation isn't this series of disconnected one-off actions anymore. It becomes a continuous, organized, and totally intuitive part of your life. Now, I really want to pause on this next point because it's absolutely crucial. The whole goal here is connection, not centralization. This is all about how we preserve autonomy. This system works on what's called a federated model. That means organizations and communities stay fully independent. They control their own data, their own governance, everything. They just choose to adopt some shared standards that let them talk to each other. This is the exact opposite of a centralized model, which would force everyone onto one platform and take away their autonomy. This is all about integration by choice. And this is how we finally unlock the true power of a networked democracy. Suddenly, your participation in one effort actually strengthens another. Groups that thought they were working alone suddenly see they're part of a much bigger, visible movement. The public will becomes clearer, more legible. And all that scattered energy, it finally consolidates into a coordinated force for real change.
Okay, so how do we get there? This isn't a switch we can just flip overnight. This is a future that we have to build together, step by step.
The roadmap for 2026 to 2027 is really methodical. Phase 1 is all about laying the foundation, getting the first civic hubs and the citizen dashboard up and running. Then, in Phase 2, we bring in the shared civic identity. That's the key that unlocks trusted, verified participation across the whole network. And finally, Phase 3 is where it all comes together with the civic feed, connecting all the hubs and unlocking that compounded, networked impact we've been talking about. And this brings us right back to the central theme. Upgrading our civic infrastructure isn't really a technical challenge. We have the technology. It's a coordination challenge. No single organization owns or controls Civic.social. Its entire strength comes from cooperation, from interoperability, and from the shared stewardship of everyone involved. And that ultimately is the North Star. This is why this work matters so much. The whole point of building this shared infrastructure is to finally, systematically, close that massive gap that so often exists between what the public actually wants and what our public policy delivers. But look, this vision completely depends on collaboration. So if you're a funder, a civic leader, or part of an organization that's working to strengthen democracy, we need your help. You can join the working group to help shape these standards, you can partner with us on a pilot project, or you can help fund the development of this critical public good. The invitation is wide open, and the work is absolutely essential. Let's build this together.